Game-changing indoor cycling bike brings the Energy Alive studio classes to your home. Up to 14 live rides a day, over 10,000 more on demand. Go to Peloton Bike at onepeloton.com or visit your local showroom. Great to have you in today. Absolutely great. So we got breaking news here. So, again, grown-ups. Tampa Bay hired a grown-up, Bruce Arians, an experienced grown-up who's coached Andrew Luck and Big Ben and Peyton Manning and, Carson Palmer was best years of his life. It looks like Freddie Kitchens just got named coach of the Cleveland Browns, never been hired by a team as an interim or as an offensive coordinator. But, hey, Cliff Kingsbury, Freddie Kitchens, Matt LaFleur, they're young, they're cheekbones. I mean, it's unbelievable to me. 7 of the 8 coaches left are 50 or older, and everybody wants the new offensive guy. It is amazing to me. By the way, Denver's going to hire Vic Fangio and bring back Gary Kubiak as an offensive coordinator. 2 grown-ups. 2 grown-ups. I mean, it's incredible to me what is happening. So, and by the way, everybody told me everybody wanted to coach the Cleveland Browns. And I kept pushing back and saying, in my lifetime, the Cleveland Browns have never been the best job opening unless they're the only job opening, and even then I'd pass. You can't tell me Cleveland's the best job opening is this as if who you hired. This guy's never been a high school coach. So I said when Baker Mayfield came out, I said, be very careful. I said, there are 2 things I said when Baker Mayfield came out during the draft. Now, Joy, you weren't on the show at the time about the draft, but I think you remember me saying these 2 things. I said 2 things. He won't be a bust because he's just too darn accurate as a thrower. I said the second thing is he is going to have to overcome Cleveland dysfunction constantly. And he's already had his coach fired, and now this is his head coach. Good luck. And by the way, everybody's like, oh, man, but Freddie Kitchens. Listen, we saw Lamar Jackson win, Tim Tebow win, the Wildcat offense. Things work. Streaks happen in the NFL. You don't hire a coach because of, you won 4 to 5 games. Cleveland beat Cincinnati a couple times in Atlanta. They got smoked, by the Chargers. They got whacked by Baltimore, right? I mean, it's like, come on. But this is what I said about Baker Mayfield. Everybody kept telling me Browns was the best job opening. So this is who they hired? The least qualified candidate on the market. Well, I mean, with Baker this year, Greg Williams, by the way, was the head coach. And they gave him nothing. He's gone. I mean, if you're going to hire one of the 2, hire Greg Williams. Greg Williams is a man. Greg Williams has won games. Greg Williams has been hired by 7 teams as a coordinator. I mean, this is classic Cleveland. Low self-esteem sports teams. If you just rub their tummy, you tell them they're beautiful, you give them a little 3-game winning streak, they're like, oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God, we got to hire this guy. I don't think he's ever been a high school head coach. It's incredible. All right. So I'm seeing a story today. Tom Brady basically said, I'm not sure if we have sound on it. Tom Brady basically came out yesterday. He does this thing, Why Sports Matter podcast. And Brady came out and basically said he's got more to accomplish, which is, absurd considering all he's accomplished. We do have the Brady sound. So this is one of the things Tom Brady talked about yesterday on his Why Sports Matter podcast. Here it is.
I still feel there's things to accomplish. And I've had an opportunity based on all the things that have happened in the last 12 years of my life, to put myself in a position to achieve things that no one else has achieved. So I feel like I kind of have to do it. It's going to be hard to do, but I think I can do it.
Okay, first of all, forget average players. Even legends retire poorly. John Elway is the only legend to ever have a perfect ending. I remember when John Elway retired. It was shocking. He was just winning his 2nd in back-to-back Super Bowls, and he was the MVP. And he could still play. He could still play. John Elway is the only legend ever. Now, Kobe Bryant scored 60 in his last game, but the last couple of years, he was an incredibly inefficient player. Peyton Manning hoisted a trophy last year, but in that year, he'd been replaced by Brock Osweiler. He was a shell of himself. John Elway is the only guy to do it right. He retired like Johnny Carson. Last show's great. Seacrest, I'm out. John Elway was still great. He was a Super Bowl MVP. He was running the league. John Elway controlled the NFL and said, I'm done. Like, that's how you do it. But even in the NBA, Michael Jordan, Wizards, sad. Akeem Olajuwon, Raptors, bad. Shaq, pathetic. Have luggage will travel. It was like 9 teams. So I don't want to see Tom Brady limping at 7-9 with 13 picks in 4 games mid-season saying, I'm out. But here's the reason. Tom Brady, there's a narrative out there that it should be really easy for Tom to retire. He's got the net worth, he's got the legacy, and he's got the rings. I think it's incredibly hard for two reasons to retire. Okay, the dysfunction in that division between the Jets, Bills, and Dolphins virtually assures he's going to win the division every year. And Bill Belichick's the best coach ever. It's very difficult to retire as an executive at Apple, at Netflix, at Amazon, at Google. Business is good. You own the world. It is very easy to retire 12 years ago at Blockbuster Video. It's easy to retire when you're losing, you're average. Derek Jeter's numbers go down. But I think it's hard. If I'm 70 years old and I'm on the air and I'm still growing and near the top or at the top of this business, that's hard to retire. To me, that's hard. It's easy to retire if I can't get through shows, if I have no energy, if my ratings are going down 17% a year. That makes it easy. That decision's made for me. You know, I'm not dumb. You hear the hints from bosses. You see the writing on the wall. I think Brady retiring is hard. If Tom Brady was in a division facing Patrick Mahomes twice a year, and Phillip Rivers twice a year, and Derek Carr twice a year, and Denver can figure their situation, oh, it's easy to retire. And you're battling to be 7-9. You are in the playoffs every third year. When you have Belichick and you face the Dolphins twice, the Jets twice, and the Bills twice, I think it's incredibly difficult. I think Tom Brady's smart. He doesn't want to limp off. He doesn't want to do it like Peyton Manning. He doesn't want to do it like Derek Jeter or Kobe and have one last great at-bat or game. Tom's not what he used to be, but you can't quit now. You can't leave now. You're leaving wins. You could leave a Super Bowl. I don't think so. You're leaving a Super Bowl on the table. John Elway's the only legend that walked out and could still win another one and was still great and was Super Bowl MVP. That is rare. And so my gut feeling is Brady stays a year too long. It may be next year or the year after, but I understand why. It's not easy. It's really tough. Here's Joy with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
All right, as you were just discussing a few minutes ago, the Browns have reportedly found their next head coach. According to ESPN's Chris Mortensen, the Browns will announce the hiring of Freddie Kitchens later today.
Looks like Mike McCarthy.
He served, yes, as the team's offensive coordinator after the firings of Hugh Jackson and Todd Haley. He was one of several candidates to interview for the job. And it was pretty clear in the past few days that the Vikings interim offensive coordinator, Kevin Stefanski, and him were the leaders in the clubhouse.
That's the interesting part. So Kevin Stefanski and Freddie Kitchens combined in their career had never been hired as a coordinator. Never been a high school coach, I don't think. And by the way, had coached in 11 games in an interim coordinator basis, and they were the two leading candidates for this job, which I was told was the job everybody in the NFL wanted.
Well, it was rated as the number two job in the NFL.
Well, most people say, everybody wants this job. And I'm like, the resumes apparently weren't piling up, because if this is the guy they hired, well, you don't think you'd take Kingsbury, you'd take Matt LaFleur, you'd take Mike McCarthy, you'd take Bruce Arians, this is it? Really?
Well, I'm starting to think that Mike McCarthy is not interested in this job. And Bruce Arians said he was very interested in the job.
And then suddenly wasn't.
Job. Yeah, so there might be something going on as far as the control that you have over the team that's keeping people from wanting this job. I mean, Hugh Jackson did come on this show and talk about, very vaguely that he did not have a lot of say in who he was going to draft, because he wanted to draft Patrick Mahomes. And
listen, here's how the world works, folks. It works in my business. It works in Hollywood. It works in Joy and Ira's business. It works in the NFL. There's about 4 agents that control all the NBA stars, all the coaches, all the media people. This is how. So there's only a handful of great agents in every industry. The great agents didn't want their coaches taking the Cleveland job. The great agents know, stay away from Jimmy Haslam, a lot of ego, that the agents wouldn't let their guys interview for the gig.
It's kind of disappointing I got to be honest with you. With all of the talk and the buzz around the Browns this year, with Hard Knocks, all of the drama, them finishing well, Baker kind of turning it around a little bit, and then no disrespect to Freddie Kitchens, but why is Greg Williams not being considered for this job?
I mean, he's won games. He's been hired like 7 times as a coordinator.
And he served as the head coach before. And he was the head coach when they made a turnaround. Yeah. It's really, I really do not understand it. So it's said that you should keep your friends close. And they made an interesting comment in their press release. They said, Kingsbury is friends with the Rams coach, Sean McVay, the 32-year-old offensive genius who has become the blueprint of many of the new coaching hires around the NFL.
They're friends? All right, whatever.
They later removed this, obviously, once they realized
it looks silly.
How ridiculous this sounds.
Yeah.
Look, we said it. Sean McVay is going to get a lot of people fired and a lot of people hired. Yep. And he clearly has done both of those things.
I was told this morning that the reason Arizona hired Cliff Kingsbury, this is what I was told, is that they felt, number one, they had to find somebody that Josh Rosen could relate to. Now, that's a good reason because Josh is the future. Now, Kingsbury does not have a ton of coaching experience, so the staff he puts together
will be very important.
Yeah, and so, by the way, I don't know him. All I'm saying is all the coaches left, 7 of 8 are 50 or older. He's never coached in the NFL and never had a successful college career. His alma mater fired him, and alma maters don't want to fire guys like him. They love him, right? He's a legend there. So what I'm saying is, I was told this morning, I was texting this morning, they wanted somebody that Josh Rosen could relate to, kind of a hip, young, smart, quick, progressive thinker, and I don't think that's bad. But I do think it's problematic when this is a big leap from losing big at Texas Tech to now the pressure of the world as an NFL head coach. That is a massive jump.
That is a massive jump. I do see where that would play into hiring someone who can relate to not just Josh Rosen, but young guys in general. That may play some part in it. But to me, you're not hiring a friend.
Well, yeah, I know.
You're not hiring a mentor. You're hiring the head coach of the team.
I know.
And there's a lot of pieces and a lot of things that go on aside from just working with Josh Rosen. And like Sean McVay, he's got to put a staff around him that can support him, that has a colossal amount of experience, because he doesn't. Finally, Jerry Jones is all in the news everywhere. He just bought a big yacht. Did you see his new yacht? Yeah. Very fancy.
I'm not a yacht guy, but nice, yeah.
I'm a yacht person.
All right.
I can deal with yachts. Well, anyway, he said that perhaps the biggest reason for the NFL's return to Hollywood, he is part of that reason, and he's very excited to play the Rams in L.A. rather than the Saints in the Big Easy, and he spoke about it yesterday.
Well, we've got thousands of fans that are generational there in Los Angeles. And I'll bet I have 30 first and second cousins out there alone. I was actually born there in Inglewood in Los Angeles County Hospital. And so I've got a great lineage of family that live there. It's a great feeling. We do feel very comfortable going to Los Angeles and play. Now, that's not to say the Rams are going to make it comfortable for us, though.
He is absolutely right.
Yeah, but this is a great... First of all,
Los Angeles.
They're a big dog. There's no pressure. House money. Rams have to win. This is a great spot for the Cowboys.
It really is. All of those things. And then, the Cowboys have their training camp out here, and Cowboys fans travel well to begin with. So it's going to be basically a home game as far as
60-40 Cowboy fans.
For sure.
Neutral at worst.
All of the pressure is on the Rams in this spot.
All of it.
Which is rare for the Cowboys.
Yeah, good stuff. Joy Taylor.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.